Hello and welcome to The Insider, a show designed to clue you into the biggest news, events and announcements inside the video games industry, discussing with you some things you may know, some things you may not, and the glue that holds it all together is a little bit of my own opinion. My name is Paul James, thank you very much for watching, and let's kick off another episode. So I come with some mixed news, everybody. We are not getting an Assassin's Creed game in 2019. The word comes officially from the president of Ubisoft, Yves Guillemot, and he's come out and declared that we are not going to be getting a game from the series in 2019 for a myriad of reasons. And we're going to talk all about that and what it all means in this week's episode of The Insider.
How can a child save us all if he's sentenced to die? Tell me, Nikolaos. Tell me before you let our son go.
So Mr. Guillemot was quite focused in what he had to say about this news. He spoke about how Ubisoft had broken the Assassin's Creed team into two groups, and they were working on Origins and the to-be-released Assassin's Creed Odyssey separately, but also simultaneously. And it's what's led to us getting two games in consecutive years. But that's not the case going forward. We don't know how that's going to look, but we know that the teams might be coming together, or they're working to different timelines, or emphasizing different projects. Maybe we're going to see a Call of Duty style model where basically the teams have got 2 years per project and they kind of alternate consequently. But they need this 1 year regardless because of the fact that they were working simultaneously this time. What it is going to result in is more time and more money and more product for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. We're going to be seeing more DLC coming for that game, and it's going to be the Assassin's Creed content that we're going to be getting over the course of 2019. Now, that's not to say we don't see remasters or ports or any of those sorts of things across the way, maybe some smaller projects like what we've seen with the Chronicles sub-series, but we're not going to be getting a core pillar marquee Assassin's Creed in 2019. There's a whole bunch of things that could mean, but we're going to talk about those next.
Where we begin does not define who we will become.
So many people, including myself, had at the time, we thought quite rightly, suspected that what we were seeing when Assassin's Creed Odyssey was announced was a return to the old Assassin's Creed model, one that had seen at least one game release every year from 2009 all the way through to 2015. And that brought a lot of franchise fatigue to the table, people getting over it, similar to what we're seeing with Call of Duty, but potentially on a greater scale. People got over it, there was negativity starting to emerge, the games weren't perhaps of the quality that we'd come to expect or want, or that Ubisoft had expected or wanted, and it led to the franchise taking a break. When Origins finally came out, it was exceptional. I still stand by it as being one of the best games of last year. And hopefully, Odyssey replicates that, expands on that, and gives us more of what we loved from last year. But that remains to be seen. What we do know from this delay, well, not necessarily delay, but this announcement that we're not going to get a game next year, is that we're going to be getting more Assassin's Creed Odyssey content. That is obviously in the form of DLC. Could we see a Freedom Cry sort of situation like what we got for Black Flag? Or could we just be getting a second season of DLC? That all remains to be seen. The core game isn't obviously out yet, so we're not going to get too many details about that as of yet. We know that there's one season of content, which will include more single-player content. Could there be a second? Again, that remains to be seen. But what I do think this whole scenario allows for is the opportunity for Ubisoft to go and kind of alternate years with the Assassin's Creed franchise. So we get Assassin's Creed 1 year and maybe Watch Dogs 3 the next. Assassin's Creed in the following year and then something from Splinter Cell. Or Watch Dogs again, or maybe like we can kind of alternate between those different franchises, and it gives Ubisoft an opportunity to prop up different IP but still support Assassin's Creed, a franchise that people love and adore and treasure and want more of. I am in that camp. I love what they do with that IP, but it seems like they're working towards getting a better balance, and that's one of the most important things for the future of this IP.
Love and loss, war and bloodshed.
In case you hadn't gathered, I am thrilled with this news. I love Assassin's Creed and I want as much of it as I can, but I don't want to be seeing the franchise fatigue that we saw before. And it seems like Ubisoft is finally aware of that. Money was speaking to them when Yves himself came out and said, "We're going to keep putting out Assassin's Creed games annually until you stop buying them." And once we did stop buying them, and I say we, the collective masses here, when we stopped buying them, they stopped making them. They responded immediately. And they doubled down and they revisited and they analysed and iterated and improved that franchise, and now we want it again. But they're going to pace us and make sure that we don't burn out on it once again. And it's fantastic thinking. It keeps the franchise up here at its peak instead of, second or third tier. You get a good one every couple of years and then a few middling titles. Like, we're expecting the bar high and they're working towards meeting that. I think it is awesome. On top of that, the DLC that we've seen in recent games, Origins, Unity, like the Syndicate, there's been some fantastic DLC that we've seen over the journey here. And with the Odyssey setting being ancient Greece, they could do a lot with the mythology there. They can kind of get a bit silly with it, as they've done in different Assassin's Creeds over the journey. It's our opportunity to enjoy this franchise in a completely different way, to double down on that support, maybe, like I said before, a second season of DLC, support it way into the future, and give us time to prepare for what comes next. I'm really, really excited to see what they do with this IP, and I can't wait to see what happens when inevitably it returns in 2020.
If you fail, Greece is lost. So are you ready now? The days of heroes are over.
So that concludes another episode of The Insider. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider liking, sharing and subscribing. All those buttons are down below here. And hit that notification bell. That way you're alerted to every video the moment it goes live. That includes Patched, The Insider, the Late Game Review, Gamer School, and a whole bunch of Player 2 plays. There is some awesome content there, so please check it out. We'd love for your support. Again, hit that notification bell. That way you're alerted every time a video goes up. We're also doing written content, player2.net.au. Visit it and you'll find reviews, previews, opinion pieces, news, features, the Player 2 Writers Draft, and heaps more, all contributed by some of the best talent in Australia. They are doing great work. Please go and check it out. We're also on Patreon, patreon.com/player2au, and consider kicking in a few dollars. At the lower tiers, you'll get early access to episodes, such as this, such as Patched, and a whole lot more. At the higher tiers, you'll get monthly exclusives of those shows. And at the top tier, you can join us in the monthly Player 2 podcast. We'd love to hear what you have to say about this gaming industry. Your support will help the Player 2 dream to grow. Please consider kicking in a few dollars and help it continue to grow. Thank you in advance. For rolling updates, you can find me at PaulJamesP2 on Twitter, the website at Player2AU on Twitter, and until next time, that is the future of Assassin's Creed, the Assassin's Creed franchise, I should say, discussed. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.